Glen Powell has been cast as the lead in an update of a classic Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from the 80s, Running Man, and it already shows more promise than the last time one of the star's films was remade. The last few years have been busy for Powell, but the actor doesn't show signs of slowing down anytime soon. Not only is Powell set to star in Netflix's hit Man, but he'll also be appearing in the sequel to 1990's IXS Twister. If that wasn't enough, Powell will also be playing the lead in a remake of a Schwarzenegger sci-fi movie from 1987. Throughout the 80s and 90s, Schwarzenegger made some of the best action movies of all time. A handful of these have been given sequels, rebooted, or remade over the years, mostly with negative outcomes. However, it was recently announced that Glen Powell would be teaming up with acclaimed filmmaker Edgar Wright to make a new version of 1987's The Running Man, and it already shows way more promise than the last attempt to remake an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Running Man is the first Arnold Schwarzenegger remake since 2012's Total Recall. It's taken 12 years for audiences to recover. Based on Stephen King's novel of the same name, 1987's The Running Man depicts a dystopian future in which people are hunted by professional killers in the name of television. The original film version starred Arnold Schwarzenegger as Captain Benjamin "Ben" Richards, a role that Glen Powell is now set to play. The movie marks the first time a Schwarzenegger film has been remade since 2012's Total Recall disaster. Directed by Len Wiseman, Total Recall was meant to be a modern update of the 1990 Schwarzenegger movie of the same name, itself a loose adaptation of the Philip K. Dick short story, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. Like the film it's based on, Total Recall tells the story of Douglas Quaid, played in the 2012 version by Colin Farrell, a man who begins to suspect that the memories he has are not real. The sci-fi movie also stars Kate Beckinsale, Bryan Cranston, Jessica Biel, and John Cho. Yet, despite its talented cast and solid source material, 2012's Total Recall was a critical failure. The movie currently holds a Rotten Tomatoes score of just 31%, which pales in comparison to the original score of 82%. Much of the criticism was aimed at the remake's lack of charm and creativity when compared to the 1990 version, with Farrell not seen as a fitting substitute for Schwarzenegger. Financially, Total Recall wasn't a complete disaster, but with overall earnings of $211 million on a $125 million budget, via the numbers, it didn't exactly set the box office on fire either. Glen Powell and Edgar Wright make Running Man's remake much more exciting. They could prove to be a dream team. Total Recall's failures should, arguably, serve as a warning to other filmmakers keen to remake an iconic Schwarzenegger movie. Nevertheless, Powell and Wright feel like the right actor/direction combination to pull a remake of The Running Man off. They certainly seem like a much more logical pairing than Farrell and Wiseman. Though he's undoubtedly a talented performer, Farrell doesn't fit the same kind of action star mold as Schwarzenegger, and that, ultimately, was his downfall. Powell, on the other hand, has proven he is an all-round action star, which makes his casting as Ben Richards all the more exciting.